The McCarthy mandate. Why one mediocre game won't send the Vikings scrambling back to Kirk Cousin's Minnesota Vikings fans. Let's cut straight to the chase. Monday night's NFL debut for second-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy in Chicago was, by most accounts, far from the dazzling performance many had hoped for. The stat line might not have been pretty, and there were undoubtedly moments that caused collective groans, and perhaps even a few panicked glances at the standings. However, to suggest that one mediocre game, particularly under the intense scrutiny of prime time, would inspire the Vikings front office to desperately dial up the Atlanta Falcons for a reunion with an old friend like Kirk Cousins is to fundamentally misunderstand the strategic commitment and long-term vision that the organization has for McCarthy. The truth is, McCarthy is their guy, and the team's investment in him runs far deeper than a single performance. No matter how underwhelming it might have seemed, the initial emotional response from fans might be to fret over McCarthy's struggles, to yearn for the perceived stability of a veteran presence. But it is absolutely crucial to consider the context of his draft, the organizational strategy, and the inherent challenges faced by any young quarterback making their way in the unforgiving landscape of the NFL. The Vikings did not merely select J.J. McCarthy. They made a profound, strategic investment in his future, signaling a clear shift in their franchise's direction. They poured significant draft capital into acquiring him, making him a cornerstone of their long-term plans. This wasn't a casual decision, it was a calculated, high-stakes move designed to secure their quarterback position for years to come. The why behind drafting McCarthy was multifaceted. He led the Michigan Wolverines to a national championship in 2024, showcasing leadership, poise under pressure, and a valuable dual-threat ability that many believe would translate well to the professional game. His perceived high ceiling, combined with his winning pedigree, made him an attractive prospect. The Vikings decision-makers saw a quarterback with the mental fortitude and physical tools to grow into a franchise leader. This commitment was further solidified when the team opted to let veteran quarterback Sam Darnold walk in free agency in March, explicitly clearing the path for McCarthy to assume the starting role. This wasn't a subtle hint, it was a loud, clear declaration that McCarthy was the designated starter, the future of the franchise. To abandon that plan, to bench a first-round pick after just one average performance, would not only be an act of organizational self-sabotage, but also a profound contradiction of their entire offseason strategy and the faith they publicly placed in him. While it's true that Kirk Cousins was trending on Google during the game, reflecting a natural human tendency to revert to the familiar in times of uncertainty, this fan sentiment simply does not align with the reality of the front office's strategic intent. Let's delve deeper into McCarthy's debut itself. It's important to acknowledge the struggles, without getting into specific, unconfirmed statistics. It's fair to say that a mediocre performance likely involved some challenges with accuracy, perhaps some indecisiveness in the pocket, and a general lack of comfort that is typical for a young player adjusting to the speed and complexity of the NFL. However, it's equally important to highlight the positives. Even in a tough outing, McCarthy reportedly made some decisive plays in the fourth quarter when they were absolutely needed, showcasing glimpses of the clutch gene that defined his collegiate career. This resilience and ability to contribute to a winning effort, even if not as the primary catalyst, is a valuable trait that will count for a lot in the eyes of his coaches. Moreover, the context of the game cannot be overstated. Starting an NFL career on Monday Night Football in a hostile environment like Soldier Field, against a formidable Chicago Bears defense, led by a respected defensive coordinator like Dennis Allen, is an incredibly tough draw for any rookie quarterback. This wasn't a gentle introduction, it was a baptism by fire. Most rookie quarterbacks would struggle in such a high-pressure, hostile scenario. History is replete with examples of future Pro Bowlers who had forgettable NFL debuts. The fact that the running game and a stout defense ultimately secured the victory for Minnesota is also a crucial factor. This collective team effort takes immense pressure off the young quarterback, allowing him to learn and grow without the immediate burden of having to win the game solely by his arm. It creates an environment where he can make mistakes, learn from them, and develop without the immediate must dash win dash by dash my dash arm dash alone pressure that can crush a young player's confidence. The idea of a Kirk Cousins reunion, while perhaps a comforting thought for some nostalgic fans is simply unrealistic from a practical and strategic standpoint. Cousins, as we know, is currently the backup quarterback in Atlanta, having been benched last season in favor of Michael Penix Jr., with Penix firmly entrenched as the starter for the Falcons. There has indeed been credible speculation about Cousins potentially being traded elsewhere during the season. However, Minnesota is not that destination. The financial implications alone make it a non-starter. Cousins' current contract, coupled with the potential dead cap implications for both teams, would make any trade incredibly complex and likely cost prohibitive for the Vikings, especially for a player they move on from. Beyond the financial hurdles, there's a fundamental strategic mismatch. Bringing in an aging veteran to replace a rookie they just invested heavily in would send a terrible message to the locker room, the fan base, and the entire league. It would imply a profound lack of faith in their own scouting and development process, essentially admitting they made a mistake with their high draft pick. No NFL team benches a high draft pick after one game unless there's an egregious performance that borders on incompetence or a significant injury. McCarthy's debut, while not stellar, certainly didn't fall into that category. Cousins isn't coming to save the day in Minnesota because the Vikings are committed to the path they've chosen, a path that runs directly through J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings undoubtedly understood that McCarthy would need time to acclimate to the NFL level. His profile from Michigan was not that of a prolific, high-volume passer. Instead, he was a dual-threat quarterback known for his athleticism, his ability to extend plays, and his clutch performances. This particular skill set suggests that his development might be more gradual, requiring patience and a tailored offensive scheme to maximize his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses. The transition from college to the NFL is a monumental leap for any player, but especially for quarterbacks who must master complex playbooks, read sophisticated defenses, and make split-second decisions at an entirely new speed. This is where the importance of patience from the organization, the coaching staff, and the fan base becomes paramount. Growth often comes with mistakes, and McCarthy will undoubtedly have more challenging moments as he navigates his rookie season. However, the presence of a superstar receiver like Justin Jefferson, along with other talented playmakers, will undoubtedly help ease his transition, providing him with reliable targets and opportunities to make splash plays. The coaching staff's role in developing McCarthy will be critical, focusing on building his confidence, refining his mechanics, and simplifying the game for him as much as possible in these early stages. The upcoming schedule, including a home game against the gritty Atlanta Falcons team next Sunday, also in prime time, might offer a slightly more friendly environment in terms of crowd support, but it will still be a challenging matchup for McCarthy. It's going to be a steep climb, and the Vikings understand that. In conclusion, while J.J. McCarthy's NFL debut may not have been the spectacular start many envisioned, it is crucial to view it within the broader context of the Minnesota Vikings' long-term strategy and unwavering commitment to their young quarterback. They invested heavily in him, both financially and strategically, and they are not about to abandon that investment after a single game. The idea of trading for Kirk Cousins, while a tempting fantasy for some, is simply not a realistic option given the financial implications, the strategic contradiction it would represent, and the team's clear vision for McCarthy as their future. The Vikings and their fans must exercise patience, understanding that development takes time and that growth often comes with growing pains. McCarthy will improve with time and experience. A merely mediocre debut is not enough to inspire Minnesota to give up on their prized draft pick and scramble for a veteran lifeline. That simply isn't going to happen. The McCarthy mandate is in full effect, and the Vikings are committed to seeing it through.